In this video, we're going to work through a derivation involving two-dimensional projectile motion. In part 1, a bocce ball is launched horizontally with an initial velocity vi. It's located on a platform of height h, and you are asked to derive an expression for the time of flight in terms of the height and fundamental constants. So I'm going to underline the fact that it is launched horizontally. That's very important. Let's go ahead and look at step 1 in my 3-step plan for deriving expressions. Step 1 is basically coming up with a plan for the problem. We treat these just as we would any other type of physics problem, except we're not putting in numbers. We're putting in these variables. So first, we want to say we do have a ball and it is launched horizontally. What does that mean? That means that there is no initial vertical velocity. That's important because if there's no initial vertical velocity, that makes this problem a little simpler. It also means that this object has no angle above or below the horizontal when it's launched. Next, the time of flight, which is a commonality between x and y directions, but it solely depends upon the vertical components. That means we're going to need to look at the vertical components for part 1, given that we're asked to derive an expression for time. This is essentially the same as a one-dimensional projectile problem in which an object is simply dropped. And that's because this object is launched horizontally. Again, that simplifies this problem. Step 2, you guys, all we do for this step is you get out your College Board equation sheet and you use one of the fundamental equations from a given unit. Well, this is kinematics and we're looking at UAM, so it's no surprise you're going to use a UAM equation as your fundamental equation for the derivation. Let's lay out our variables just like we would any other UAM problem. Change in vertical displacement, well, that's denoted as h1. Time, that's what we're trying to find because that's what we're asked to derive an expression for. V naught y, our vertical velocity initial. Well, that's going to be 0 because we have no angle above, no angle below, so we are simply launched from the horizontal. There is no initial vertical velocity. Final velocity, we don't know, but some negative number. And then, of course, our acceleration in the y direction is little g in this particular problem, which is one of our fundamental constants that's referenced in the derivation. So next we pick a UAM that will enable us to solve for time. We get this particular equation becomes our go-to, our best equation for this derivation. And then what I like about it, and what I'm sure you will like about it, is because V naught y is 0 meters per second, this whole piece of the expression goes away, which means we're left with this simplified expression in which the change in vertical displacement is 1/2 g multiplied by time is squared. Step 3, we're going to replace variables in our UAM equation with the relative terms that were given in the problem, and then we're going to simplify. Let me show you what that looks like. So change in y becomes capital H subscript 1. T is now T sub P for the time of the projectile. Rearranging this as we would algebraically for any other problem, solving for T, we have now derived an expression for the time of flight in terms of h1, check, check, and fundamental constants, or little g in this case. And that's the very final step. Go through, make sure you've derived in terms of the variables that the question has asked you to derive for. Now, in part 2, we're deriving an expression for the distance the bocce ball travels. So that would be basically saying This is the horizontal range, the horizontal change in position, the horizontal displacement for the bocce ball. Guys, we only have one equation for a two-dimensional projectile when we're looking at its horizontal motion, and that is on the screen in front of you here. Very simple. Now, what's important to acknowledge is we derived an expression for time. We used the vertical components for that derivation in part 1. We're now going to take what we derived in part 1 and we're going to plug it in for time in the horizontal equation. You can see that here. Next, we will take our relative terms from the problem and replace them, and we're done. So our change in horizontal position becomes a capital D. Our V sub x becomes V sub I. Of course, this was derived in part 1. Let's double check in terms of H1, VI, and fundamental constants. H1, VI, fundamental constants. So we're good to move on to part 3. Here, the cannon is raised to a new height, height 2, and it's launched with the same initial velocity. That's very important to acknowledge here. I'm going to go ahead and underline that. And this results in a horizontal distance that is now 3 times greater than that of part 2. Okay? Because of that, now we are asked to derive an expression for this new height, h2, in terms of the original height, which is h1. Okay? So let's go ahead and answer this final part. I want you to use mathematical reasoning here to compare the variables in the UAM equations. We've been doing this since the beginning of the course, and you will continue to do this through every unit in the course. So let's go ahead and start by looking at the horizontal change in position and time. So we can see from this expression that the horizontal change in position is directly proportional to time. So if we want to triple the range or the horizontal distance, we need to triple the time. So if the distance triples, time triples. Same is also true here for the velocity. However, we're explicitly told that that velocity is the same as in parts 1 and 2. And so we're looking at time and distance. We need to triple time to triple distance. But wait, time depends solely on the vertical components, which means let's direct our attention to the motion in the y direction and look at time of flight here. So now we end up looking at the change in vertical position and seeing that when it's related to time, it's actually related to time squared. That means there's an exponential relationship here between the height and the flight time. So this can be written as the change in vertical position is proportional to time squared, or if you prefer, the square root of the change in vertical position is proportional to time. So now the question becomes, how do I need to change the height to triple the time? That's the question. And if we triple the time, we triple the distance. And we've gone through that. So I am simply going to look at time in this proportionality, and I'm going to square it. And that gives me 9. Or I can come to this one here, whichever one's more intuitive, and I could say, what number do I put under the radical that when I take the square root will equal 3? And that answer is 9. Whichever way you look at it, the answer is 9. So if the height is 9 times higher than the initial height, that will give me a time of flight that is tripled. And if I triple the time of flight, I triple the horizontal distance. So your answer is simply that h2 is 9 times the original height h1, which gives us a very high platform that will result in a distance, a horizontal distance that is 3 times greater that of parts 1 and 2. So in this video now, I've continued to look at UAM, kinematics. I've taught you how to derive an expression for a two-dimensional projectile motion problem, and I'll see you guys in class.